Hello, and welcome to the another INACAC video series. Today, we are joined by the chair of the Inclusion, Access, and Success Committee. Her name is
Nichelle Whitney.
And Nichelle, thank you so much. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Janiyah Downing, and I'm serving as the current president of the Indiana Association for College Admissions Counseling. And Nichelle, just give us a little bit of your background, like where you work, what you do.
Yeah. So you start off very well. I am the chair of the Inclusion, Access, and Success Committee for INACAC. I'm actually going into my second year as chair, so this is a wonderfully exciting time. I am a Hoosier through and through. So I attended Indiana University, and I now work at Indiana University in Bloomington. Thanks for being here, or thanks for having me here with you, Janiyah.
It is absolutely my pleasure to get a chance to speak with you today. And while we're talking about inclusion, access, and success, or IAS, I'm just going to say IAS. I'm having trouble with the whole name for some reason. But for IAS, can you tell a little bit about what IAS is, what they stand for, and what they do for our organization?
Yeah, so IAS is a phenomenal committee to get involved in if you want to be a part of a working group. So what we really stand for is that we look at any opportunity that we can promote inclusion, grant different types of access, and not just access like in a physical capacity, but how are we making sure that we're disseminating information? Are we bringing more resources? What is it? So for example, when COVID happened, we were looking at, do we need to find grants to get access to tech for students? So we are looking at increasing access and then celebrating and promoting success in whatever way that looks like for the students, for the families, or professionals that support students in their college journey. I love working particularly with IAS because this is a group of social justice advocates in a way. So even if you don't have a long-standing history of working with underrepresented groups or marginalized groups, it doesn't matter. What really works well on this committee is that we have people from various backgrounds: public, private, community college advocates. We have CBOs, community-based organizations, but we're open to anyone and everyone who's a part of INACAC's membership that's like, listen, I believe in increasing access. I believe in promoting inclusion. I believe in celebrating success for students and families. So if you're interested in a working group, because we do a lot of work, I am saying that right now, our meetings we work up to the minute most times on our meetings because there's a lot of stuff to talk about. There's a lot of stuff to do. And this is also a group for innovation. So if you have an idea and you're like, listen, I want to throw some spaghetti at the wall and just see what sticks, this is the type of committee to do that with, because we're constantly looking for new and innovative ways to meet the needs of our students and families.
That's awesome. And I can definitely say that I can confer everything she's saying. I've been in higher education or admissions work for going on 13 years now. And I've been a part of 2 affiliates. And in both affiliates, I was able to be a part of the Inclusion, Access, and Success Committee. And they are some of the most passionate people. And even though I'm currently serving in the role of president for INACAC, I'm also serving on that committee as well. And the meetings, they are passionate, they are encouraging. It's a chance for you really to talk about some real things that are going on the high school side and on the college side, and how we can best serve students in their communities. And with that, the membership of INACAC is very diverse. You know, people from different types of high schools, types of higher types of post-secondary institutions. So when you think about that core group of IAS, the voices that you hear from all the time, what's missing? Like what populations do you like, oh man, I wish we had more like rural counselors, or I wish we had more like suburban people from the high school side? Like what voices would you love to join IAS?
Yeah, so Janiyah, that's a really good question, because when I think about the voices that are missing, I don't necessarily think about them in terms of geographic location, right? Like I'm not looking for more rural or more urban, more private or more public. What I specifically look for are social justice advocates in whatever realm, right? Like whatever seat you're holding, lead from that seat with social justice. So we're looking for people who are passionate about looking at higher education with the lens of equity, looking at policies with the lens of equity. It doesn't matter where you're from. But if you have that interest in looking at life from that lens, that's who we're looking for. But also innovators, right? So our higher education, in my opinion, is a little bit slow on the innovation route because we like to replicate and do things that we've always done because those things have worked in the past. So I'm constantly, when we talk about inclusion, access, and success, I'm looking for those creative minds, those innovators who are like, let's try something new, or let's add something new to what we've already done. And then the final perfect candidate, I think, for IAS is a champion for learning, because we're all learning in this together. And so if you come with the lens about homeless students or working with disabled students, and I'm not just talking about those hidden disabilities, but I'm talking about those more overt disabilities that you can see and that you have to interact with, and making campuses more accessible for them, making educational materials more accessible for people with disabilities. Like, we need that lens. We need people who have research interests or have passion around gender, class, and race. How are we making sure that we're recruiting that middle class student that may not be a high need student, right? How are we making Indiana institutions accessible to them? We need a diversity of thought. And that can come from being in a rural school or a private school. That can come from working with the CBO. That can come from working at the high school level or the college level. That type of demographic, to me, is not as critical as having people who are social justice advocates, who are committed to learning, and who are committed to innovation and willing to just try something, right? That's what I'm looking for on IAS. And I think even if I'm not the chair, or if I no longer serve with IAS, when you talk about being inclusive, when you talk about increasing access and promoting success and celebrating success, you need those type of people at the table.
I completely agree. And I love the way that you look at it, like diversity within diversity. And, it's like, what are you passionate about? Wherever you come from, what are you passionate about?
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. If people are looking at some of the wins that IAS has had recently, what would you say are some of the things that you are most proud of your committee within the last year, or even some things that are coming up that you're really excited about?
Yeah, what I'm most proud of, there are two distinct things. One, I'm really proud of the strategic partnerships that have come out of IAS this year. So we were able to partner with the Indiana Association of Blacks in Higher Education to host a Lunch and Learn Summit across 3 days. It was phenomenal. Our IAS members not only served as moderators for different rooms, they also gave presentations. So to bring this recruitment and retention aspect into the IABHE space, phenomenal. That's a partnership that had not existed in the past. And from what I understand from IABHE, by far the best lunch and learn experience that they've had. So I attribute a lot of that to the miraculous people within our committee. But then also, every year in the past, we've hosted the Student Advocates Conference, the Transitions Conference, which has really been able to bring together student support professionals to support homeless students in Indiana, right? And their transition into higher ed. Well, this year, due to COVID, we had to get a little creative. So we had another strategic partnership with the Indiana Commission for Higher Education to co-host and co-sponsor the Student Advocates Conference, which had nearly 1,000 attendees. Not only did we again serve as moderators, but we hosted daily tea talks where we were able to bring together people to brainstorm and network and think about how are we going to transition from this learning experience into a wonderful season in 2021, right? So strategic partnerships, love it through and through. I think that this committee has been doing a really good job of working really hard, but also working really smart. And then, so that's one thing. The other thing I'm really proud of is this ICON program. There's this wonderful person who came up with this idea and wrote this amazing grant. And his name may be Janai Downing. I'm not really sure. However, but the ICON program. So Janai, even through your service with IAS, bringing together professionals from the high school and the college side to really bring them some cultural competency, some diversity education, and not even just in a way that's like high level. It's like really down into like the nuts and bolts of situations and watching them emerge and go through this process. And it's a year-long process, right? And so seeing how they're coming on the other side of things, they're doing diversity landscape assessments for their institution. They're coming up with workshops that really highlight how to support marginalized groups. They're walking away with phenomenal toolkits. ICON program, by far, one of the best programs that I've seen run for education professionals in general, right? So ICON program, strategic partnerships, and IAS members, if you're watching this, just know I am proud of you. Proud of you for the work that we were able to do in 2020.
Well, I will say as a member of that committee, we have some phenomenal leadership. And if people do want to get in touch with you, like they're thinking like, okay, I like what I hear. Like I'm passionate. Like I love social justice. I want to be a change agent. What is the best way for them to reach out to you?
The best way is by email. I check email like it's social media. Sometimes it's a problem, but email me. My email is my last name, then the letter N as in Nichelle or Nancy or Nicole at indiana.edu. So Whitney in at indiana.edu. Just send me an email and say, hey, I'm interested, and let me know like what lens do you want to bring to the committee, and then we can have a conversation. We can get you into some meetings, and then you decide if you want to enjoy our craziness or not. We have fun in our meetings, I think.
We do. Well, Nichelle, thank you so much. I appreciate you being a part of this. And this is one more video in our INACAC video series where we're highlighting many of our committees and what they do on a daily basis. We would love, if you're watching this and you're like, man, how do I really give back to my organization? How do I make change happen? How do I be a part of some solutions? We would love for you to get joined up with one of our organizations. Thank you so much for being here today. And for members watching this, we appreciate you and thank you, and hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, Naya.